we're getting started on time today. Oof, get comfortable here. You get comfortable too. Oh man, what an eventful week this has been. Has it been as crazy for y'all as it's been for me? Well, I'm glad to get settled in to end this week, and then we can start with the next week, the first week of May. Can you believe it? Oh my goodness, I've been on Duolingo, which is the Fløren language app, and I've been doing it every single day, and I'm on a 49-day streak. Tomorrow will be my 50th day of doing it, and my first day was the day everything started getting a little crazy, so here we go. We are continuing on with JLA, Batman's Guide to Crime and Detection. All right. Police vehicles. The sound of a siren blaring and the sight of red flashing lights as a police car tears down the street alert pedestrians and motorists that the police are on the move. Under their hoods, police cars are equipped with special motors that provide extra power during high-speed chases. Inside, they are packed with equipment. Two-way radios allow officers to communicate with other police cars and with their station house. Radar detection units allow officers to measure the speed of passing cars. Police cars are also equipped with laptop computers hooked up to wireless modems. This allows officers to receive all the information they need about a call: addresses, suspects' names, and criminal records, for example. It also helps them check on vehicles to see if they are stolen. Batman also uses many vehicles in his battle against crime. The most famous of these is the sleek, speedy Batmobile. The Batmobile is bulletproof, and its bat-headed grille is strong enough to be used as a battering ram. It's got a 1,500 horsepower rocket-powered fuel-injected engine to give the car a super burst of speed, and a parachute-assisted braking system. The Batmobile can turn right around in an instant by rising on a hydraulic lift and then spinning. Modern-day police officers still use horses in certain situations to patrol parks and rocky terrain. They are also often used for crowd control. Bomb threat. Special trucks used by the police bomb squad rush to the scene of bomb threats. There, specially trained officers disarm any explosive. Batmobiles. Batman has several Batmobiles, each an improvement on the last. The latest is the fastest and most high-tech of them all. The Bat Humvee. For off-road criminal pursuit, Batman uses the Bat Humvee. It has a raised suspension and special all-terrain tires. In addition to their cars, the police use many other vehicles. Motorcycles and bicycles enable officers to move more quickly through crowded city streets filled with traffic. Police boats patrol rivers around big cities, not only enforcing marine regulations, but also aiding police in land vehicles to keep fleeing criminals contained. One of the most important vehicles available to the police is the helicopter. Its ability to fly at low altitudes and hover in one spot enables officers in the sky to coordinate with their partners on the ground. As police cars pursue a fleeing suspect in a car, a police helicopter can easily follow, radioing information to the officers below. Batman also has a large collection of vehicles at his disposal. Bat cycles are often used by the Dark Knight's crime-fighting associates. The Bat plane is a state-of-the-art flying machine that includes a radar-shielded exterior, a breakaway canopy, and a fully operational computer workstation. Other airborne bat vehicles include the Batcopter, based on a military attack helicopter, the Bat Glider, and a collapsible one-man whirly bat, which the Dark Knight carries in the Batmobile's trunk. Scooting along, police from all over the world, including this police officer from Cuba, use fast-moving vehicles to catch criminals. You guys can see that. Two wheels. Batman's Batcycle has a bulletproof wind guard and a super speedy V4 engine. In water. For fighting crime on Gotham's waterways or under the sea, Batman uses the Batboat, or the submarine-like Bat-Submersible. Batman's Whirly Bat is a lightweight mini copter. That's the Whirly Bat. It's one of Batman's older models of vehicle. Police equipment. The police have a large arsenal of tools at their disposal for fighting crime and protecting themselves. Guns are used only as a last resort, for protection and defense. Officers in most countries carry a handgun in a holster. Police sharpshooters use high-powered rifles with special long-distance sights. Police officers also carry nightsticks, which they use to subdue violent criminals. High-pressure water hoses are used to control big crowds. Spraying a strong stream of water at a rioting mob helps keep them contained without injuring anyone. Tear gas is used to smoke criminals out of a building, allowing police to apprehend them. A creative array of weapons and gadgets has always been a part of Batman's crime-fighting arsenal. His famous utility belt, worn around his waist, contains many useful items, including a miniature camera, a set of lock-picking tools, tear gas pellets, a laser torch, plastic explosive grenades, a miniature cell phone, and a first aid kit. Unlike some real police, Batman doesn't use a gun. Then again, he doesn't need one. His chief weapon is the Batarang, a bat-shaped throwing disc that is stored in his utility belt. Ultraviolet detector kit. Valuable goods can be marked with a substance that is invisible under normal light, but visible under ultraviolet light. If a thief steals the items, his or her hands reveal traces of the substance. That's what that looks like. Many stores, banks, and offices have closed-circuit cameras that record what people are doing inside and outside the building. Often pictures are relayed to a control center where the police or security guards keep a close watch on television monitors. Batarangs. Batman has many types of batarangs. They are made from steel alloys and are thrown like boomerangs. For protection, the police wear bulletproof vests made of Kevlar, a super tough yet flexible material. They also wear helmets and carry plastic shields when dealing with crowd control or riots. Handcuffs are an important tool. Once a prisoner's hands are restrained by the metal rings, the officer has greater control over the suspect and the situation. A magnifying glass, though invented centuries ago, is still very useful when searching for clues at a crime scene. A telephoto lens comes in handy when taking pictures of a suspect from afar. Among the many gadgets at Batman's disposal is the grapnel, a powerful grappling hook that allows the Dark Knight to climb up the side of buildings or swing from rooftop to rooftop, high above the city. His multifunction binoculars provide conventional, infrared, and ultraviolet imaging and can bring an image of an object up to 60 times closer. Batman's universal tool can be used to do many things. It contains screwdrivers, wrenches, electronic lock-picking devices, a drill, plus a recording and playback device. The rebreather is a miniature scuba device, 5 inches long, that provides Batman with breathable air underwater for up to 2 hours. Phone taps. Police can listen in on a suspect's phone calls using a telephone tap. Wires and a transmitter are connected to the telephone handset or to a junction box outside the building. Finger light. Batman's finger light can provide narrow or wide beams of light in many of the colors of the spectrum, including infrared. Police divers use special scuba gear to search for clues, vehicles, and even bodies underwater. Okay. I think that'll be... Wait. I think we're going to finish tonight. All right, communications. Often the difference between catching a criminal and losing one is the quality of communication between the first police officers at the scene of a crime, their backup, officers at the station house, and the specialists needed in extreme situations. Two-way radios and walkie-talkies keep officers in touch with each other and with the station house. Computers can instantly send vital information to an officer at the crime scene. A car's license plate can be relayed to a central database, and the officer can learn whether or not the car is stolen or belongs to a dangerous criminal. Concealed cameras and hidden radio transmitter called bugs help provide information to police. The transmitter, which can be hidden on a person or placed in an electrical outlet, relays an audio signal back to a receiver monitored by the police. A video camera hidden in a camera bag can record images without anyone being aware that they are even being taped. Keeping in touch. Batman has a communications device built into his cowl to help him monitor transmissions from hidden bugs. He also has a GPS tracer in his boot so that his allies can track his whereabouts. Here's a picture of the transmitter in his boot. British police officer using a walkie-talkie. Oracle. Wheelchair-bound Barbara Gordon, paralyzed by a bullet fired by the Joker, assumed the mantle of Oracle. She now sends information to Batman from her headquarters in Gotham's Clock Tower. Famous criminals. Throughout history, there have always been criminals who have captured the imagination of the public. William H. Bonney, known to the world as Billy the Kid, was a gambler, a cattle and horse thief, and a ruthless killer. He was tracked down and killed in 1880 by a New Mexico sheriff named Pat Garrett. In 1932, Clyde Barrow teamed up with Bonnie Parker to form an infamous pair of robbers and murderers in the southwestern United States. They were featured in a 1967 film which added to their legend. Butch Cassidy, otherwise known as Robert Leroy Parker, and the Sundance Kid, whose real name is Harry Longbaugh, led an outlaw gang of horse and cattle rustlers and bank and train robbers in the American West of the 1890s. They too were immortalized and romanticized in a 1970 film that bore their names. Ned Kelly was an Australian bank robber who lived in the 1800s. He and his gang lived in the bush or outback and survived a shootout with British soldiers. Kelly is famous for his amazing suit of armor, which he made himself out of iron. He was eventually captured and was hanged in 1880. Catwoman. My favorite Batman villain. A petty thief turned cat burglar and master ninja, Catwoman is one of Gotham's trickiest foes. And my favorite. Two-Face. Former Gotham DA Harvey Dent's dark side emerged when a gangster spilled acid on half of his face. The good and evil sides of his personality constantly battle for control. The Penguin. The Penguin is a criminal mastermind with an obsession for birds and trick umbrellas that contain all kinds of weapons. Prisons for criminals. When someone is convicted of a crime, that person usually goes to prison. The amount of time a person spends behind bars, known as their sentence, depends on the severity of his or her crime. Sometimes convicted criminals are sent to prison for rehabilitation, where they can be trained in skills that will allow them to be useful members of society upon their release. Some violent criminals are kept locked up in prison because they are dangerous and it would be a public menace. For many years, before jails were even thought of, criminals were punished by public humiliation, locked in stocks which held their head and arms, or by more severe methods such as execution, flogging, or torture. In Britain, criminals were sometimes sent to penal colonies in far-off places like Australia or Tasmania. Early forms of prisons for the poor have been around since the 1500s. The modern concept of prisons as places where criminals could be sent without being tortured or injured was developed by the Quakers of New Jersey and in Pennsylvania in the late 1600s. The design of a series of individual cells surrounding a central area was created in Philadelphia in 1790 and remains the blueprint for most prisons. Arkham Asylum. Gotham City's most famous prison is Arkham Asylum for the criminally insane. This institution houses the worst of Batman's foes. This is a prisoner behind the bars of his cell. Although prisoners are kept in their cells for long periods, they are allowed out for exercise, work, and recreation. Specialized cells. Poison Ivy is kept behind thick plexiglass in Arkham Asylum to keep her hypnotic pheromones within her cell. Many of Gotham's worst criminals are kept behind bars in Arkham Asylum. Forensic psychology. Psychology plays a role in the capture and rehabilitation of criminals. In the middle of the 20th century, American psychiatrist Dr. James Russell, known as the Sherlock Holmes of the couch, put forth a theory that by studying the way a crime was carried out, it was possible to determine the type of person who might have committed it. In 1957, he helped catch New York's Mad Bomber using his knowledge of criminal psychology to find a pattern in his crimes. In 1963, Dr. Russell also helped capture Albert DeSalvo, known as the Boston Strangler. Forensic psychologists are often asked to offer expert opinions in court cases, testifying as to whether a certain suspect's behavior fits the crime of which he or she is accused. They will also be brought in to determine whether or not a suspect is insane and therefore unfit to stand trial. With the help of these experts, police try to establish patterns of behavior to help them anticipate where a criminal may strike next in hopes of preventing a crime from taking place. The Joker. Showing no remorse for his terrible crimes, the Joker takes pleasure in hurting those that Batman loves, unleashing psychological torture on the Dark Knight. Harley Quinn. While working at Arkham Asylum, Dr. Harley Quinn fell in love with the Joker, but even she found him too insane to deal with. She's hanging out with Poison Ivy a lot now. Dr. Jeremiah Arkham. The head of Arkham Asylum, Dr. Jeremiah Arkham has dedicated his life to curing the criminally insane. Looks like a cheerful guy, doesn't he? And that is it for Batman's Guide to Crime and Detection. So join us again on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. and we're going to be doing wake-up stories, and we'll start a whole new book. I need to figure out which one I want to do. I don't know yet. So it'll be a surprise for all of us because I don't know what I'm going to do next. So I hope you have a good night, sweet dreams, and thank you for letting me read you a bedtime story. Bye.